All right, shifting gears, we may have already kind of talked a lot about CES the past few days, but guess what? Today is actually the official day, first day for the show, so there's plenty more to discover. Our own Scott Wilkinson, host of Home Theater Geeks on the TWiT network, is here to talk a little bit about what cool things are happening in the world of in-home entertainment. How's it going, Scott?
Hey, I'm doing good. My dogs are barking a bit, but Sony has been kind enough to let me sit in their simulated living room, so I'm pretty comfy right now.
That's where you are. Okay, so what you got there? Like a couch, or are they kind of upgrading and giving you lots of amazing screens to look at?
Well, I've got an amazing screen to look at right here in front of me. It's the X930D, which is the 2016 version. A high dynamic range, 4K, a new type of backlighting that really looks quite amazing. In this particular room that I'm sitting in, a simulated living room with a couch and a sound bar and a TV mounted on the wall, they're showing all sorts of home automation stuff based on the Android operating system in the TV. So that's really cool. They're controlling lights and shades and Blu-ray player and all sorts of stuff from the Sony remote, the TV remote. And it's all based on Android and Harmony, Logitech Harmony remote technology, and it's working really, really well.
That's cool. Now, it really seems, kind of taking a look at a lot of the stuff that's being shown off at CES this year, it really seems like kind of the UHD thing, the ultra high definition, is a really big deal. What are some of the things that you've seen along those lines?
Well, the UHD or Ultra HD, some people call it 4K. A lot of manufacturers do because it's sexier than UHD or Ultra HD. There's a slight difference between them in terms of actual pixel resolution. Doesn't really matter. But we've had that for a couple of years, at least in terms of the number of pixels on the screen, which is 4 times the number of pixels that you see on an HD TV. That has 2.2 million pixels. Ultra HD has 8.8 million pixels. And those have been around for a couple of years, and I've been one of those who has said, you know, increasing the number of pixels really isn't that important. What's much more important, and what really is, I think, one of the key stories from CES from my perspective, is the addition of what's called high dynamic range and wide color gamut. What that means is that the difference between the darkest black and the brightest white has been expanded. Now, we've had that in TVs for some time, but up until now we haven't had content, or much content, that exploited that had that increased dynamic range. But when you combine content that has the increased dynamic range with a TV or a display that can show it, then you've got something very special, something that no one can say, oh, well, it's just sort of a minor upgrade. It's not really that important. It's really important. It's really a serious wow factor that you look at it and you go, yeah, that's like looking out a window. I remember when HD first came out and everybody said, oh, it's like looking out a window. Well, this is like looking out a window. In addition to the dynamic range, the difference between black and white, we also have a wider range of colors. In the HD world, it's like 16 million colors that typically a TV can reproduce. Now with 10 bits of color per red, green, and blue, you have 1 billion colors that you can represent. So you get the London double-decker red bus, which you couldn't reproduce accurately in HD, or Coca-Cola red. You couldn't reproduce that accurately in HD. You can in UHD with high dynamic range and wide color gamut. And we're now seeing content coming out with those characteristics. Not only streaming, which we've had for maybe a year or so from places like Netflix, Amazon, YouTube's now starting to talk about it. But at this show at CES, we have now seen at least 2 Ultra HD Blu-ray players, and the studios have announced that they're going to put out Ultra HD Blu-ray titles. We should see 100 by the end of the year. So that's a really big deal for me because I'm looking for quality. Streaming is great for convenience, but for those of us who are home theater geeks, we really want the ultimate in quality, and that's going to come from a disc, a physical disc. And these Ultra HD Blu-ray discs are going to be phenomenal. We've seen 2 players, one from Samsung and one from Panasonic, And what's most amazing to me is that the Samsung, you can pre-order it now, and when you pre-order it, it's going to be $400, which is remarkable. Samsung brought out the first Blu-ray player 10 years ago, and it was $1,000 when it first was introduced. So right away, you're less than half the price of what a Blu-ray player started out as. So it's really quite remarkable.
Wow. And also Sony, I know, kind of basically said that there's not going to be a 4K UHD Blu-ray player coming from their end, though they have a premium 1080p model. So there's that at least. Are they kind of missing the boat on this, or it's still incredibly early at this point, so they're probably not missing out on much?
It's exactly. We're at the very early stages here. I'm sure that a lot of other companies are going to jump on the boat, on the bandwagon, if you will, to Ultra HD Blu-ray and streaming as well. They're both going to coexist and be important. Sony Pictures is committed to doing high dynamic range, Ultra HD content, both streaming and Blu-ray titles, as I recall. So I'm just checking with my cohorts here. Thank you very much to Eric Thompson and Tim Hernandez for letting me sit down for a few minutes. I really appreciate that. But yeah, Sony Pictures is one of several studios that have announced that they're going to put out titles. MGM, 20th Century, and Universal, I think, are the other ones.
So I see you're sitting on a couch and you say it's comfortable. Is it a smart couch? Does it have anything in it that's smarter than my regular couch at home?
I don't think this is a smart couch, is it?
It is now. It has Scott.
They're working on it.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right. When you stand up, will it still be smart? That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question. No. Well, we do have smart lights here and drapes from Lutron, I think. And this TV, of course, is a very smart TV, and it can do all kinds of streaming and so on. And it's a quite a comfortable environment here. I wouldn't mind this being my living room. I think I'll stay here tonight. Is that okay?
Scott, do the smart drapes know when I'm watching something that would be inappropriate for my neighbors to see me watching, and will they close automatically?
Oh, good question. No, I don't think they'll close automatically based upon watching X-rated content.
I meant Game of Thrones.
Actually, Eric's telling me they could program it to. They could program it to do that. They could actually program it to do that.
Check in with HBO to make sure, oh, that's rated R. Let's close the drapes just to be safe.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly right.
One last thing that you pointed out, and then we'll let you get on to your busy schedule here. You had also mentioned the LG Signature Series OLED. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that is a beautiful looking TV. It's high dynamic range, 4K. It's available in curved and flat versions, and it just looks phenomenal. It's sort of the ultimate in black level. Although here in the Sony booth, they're showing a technology demonstration of something that on an LED or LCD TV that actually approaches OLED black levels. It's not in a current product, but it is a technology that's quite remarkable. But the LG Signature Series OLED really looks amazing, and I tell you the truth, I can't wait to get one in to review myself. I'm looking forward to it very much. The other thing I want to make sure that I mention here is that the Ultra HD or UHD Alliance, which is a cross-industry consortium of companies that are working on all of this, announced here at the show a set of specifications for Ultra HD, what they're calling Ultra HD Premium, which includes high dynamic range, wide color gamut, and of course the resolution, the 4x resolution. And if a TV or a display meets those specifications, it can get certified as meeting those specifications. Same with content and same with distribution. So if all of those elements of the signal chain, if you will, meet this standard, then you're going to get a really significant improvement in the performance, in what you see and hear. It even involves immersive audio. And this was an announcement made today, or Monday, I guess. The press conferences are just getting earlier and earlier. This one was Monday night. And so that announcement, I think, is the cornerstone for what I'm thinking is the tipping point to real adoption of UHD or 4K with this high dynamic range and wide color gamut. That's a critically important piece that is now in place, and manufacturers, content creators, and distributors can follow these guidelines that the UHD Alliance has put out now, and the result is a remarkable experience.
All right, so basically, I need to put off buying a new TV. I've got a 10-year-old set. I need to put it off at least for another 2 to 3 years for the price of UHD TVs to come down, and then get in on it.
Well, the price of UHD TVs is coming down significantly and fast. OLEDs are still pretty expensive. We don't know what these new LG Signature Series OLEDs are going to be, but the first LG OLED a 55-inch went from $15,000 2 years ago to under $2,000 today. So we're seeing a significant price drop very fast. And so it won't be that long. I don't think you're going to have to wait 2 or 3 years. I think if you, within this year, towards the end of the year, would be a really good time to be thinking about upgrading to UHD, because you're going to get an experience that improves the situation much like HD improved over standard definition. This is the real turning point, I think, to that kind of a paradigm shift, if you will.
Well, that is exciting, particularly because I'm excited to upgrade my living room.